All right, music fans, welcome back. It is Dave. It is the Real Music Observer, observing real music in real time for real people just like you right there. And yours truly right here. Look, other than this t-shirt, folks, which, by the way, is a t-shirt that represents the Journey tribute band from Ohio of that name, good friends of mine, and had a great opportunity to see them last summer. I am Escaped Out, and Ultimate Classic Rock today. It's like breaking news how this album exploded and Journey became superstars, and I get it. Escape was a cosmic moment for the band. However, we are now 37 years later. It's a scary number to say out loud. And to keep dwelling on this one moment in time, and to say that this is everything that's great about Journey, when you had Infinity and Evolution and Departure and Frontiers. I even like the pre-Perry stuff. Yes, I do. There's a great compilation double album called In the Beginning. I don't think they ever put it on CD. I wish they did. If they did, it's probably an import or something. But that assembled all of that pre-Perry stuff. And then the stuff that came later, folks. There's great music out there. Raised on Radio and Trial by Fire is a great album. If you listen to Journey, you should probably listen to that album. It's very different. And then even the post Steve Perry albums, Arrival with Steve Augeri, it's just a fantastic album. And I think Journey at that moment kind of recaptured their rocking mojo on that album. You've got your gratuitous ballads and so forth, but you've also got some meat and potatoes. You find that also on Generations, which comes next. Next is way back, but Generations, featuring the vocal stylings of Ross Valory on one song, a little bit weird and different, and some people probably would prefer Ross not to sing, but I thought it was an interesting experiment, and it probably gave a little space to Steve Augeri, who maybe at that moment was already starting to show some wear and tear. Maybe these guys did this to kind of give him a breather. But then later on, Arnel hits it out of the park on Revelation and Eclipse, which is really an underrated album. If you go back and listen to it again, I think you'll find music on there that's very compelling. Very different from back in the day, and some people they can't wrap their brains around anything except for that Steve Perry, Escape, Frontiers, Raised on Radio period. But I would say spend some time with Raised on Radio. Okay, spend time with Trial by Fire. Ultimate Classic Rock, the website, they're out there saying how Kane shows up and then all bleep breaks loose because of Kane. And I'm not denying that Jonathan Kane was a catalyst, but it almost sounds, article after article written like this, it almost sounds like he basically saved them from destruction. This was a band that was on an upward trajectory. Greg Raleigh says, you know what, I'm out. Now, does Greg regret doing that? Who knows? If I were him, I'd probably regret it a little bit. He's the guy who actually recommended that Kane come in from the Babies. Jonathan had a different sound. He melded some of those classical melodies that he had with Perry's soul and R&B and Neil's explosive electric guitar, and this is what happened. And it was a pretty interesting mix, but it was definitely different. It became more of a top 40 and pop band versus an AOR on the rock stations band. I mean, it was both for sure, but especially when you get to Raised on Radio, the guys are sounding a lot more like a top 40 band than they are a, rock radio band. And for those of us who were young teenagers during the early 80s, I think we miss some of that rock radio mojo that the band had. And they've tried to recapture that, although there is really no melodic rock radio here in the States. So it's been tough. But I'll tell you, I'd recommend, go listen to Arrival and really think about it. Now, don't measure Steve Augeri against Steve Perry. I'm just saying the quality of writing and material on there is really very, very good, very strong. And Escape, you can't duplicate that moment in time. It was a magical moment for the band, but we've heard about it. We've been there. We've done that. Maybe it's time to talk about something different, all right? Maybe talk about how Evolution should have been a bigger chart album for the band. Maybe the record label should have released more singles off of that album. Talk about Trial by Fire, how it got stuck in the mud because Perry would not tour. Talk about Generations, because it's interesting. All these different voices on there. Even Neil Schon is singing a song on there. Talk about something else. That's all I'm asking, It's over and over again, dwelling on the same things. And, I've got escape fatigue, and I know there's a lot of people who feel similar. So, maybe not your hardcore Steve Perry fans, because everything that Perry's voice is on is gold, at least to them, and, and pretty much to everybody. But what I'm saying is, yeah, they would like to listen to Escape more than Arrival, because Perry's on one album and he's not on the other album. So it's got that going for it, and it just, in that way, I guess you'll never capture Escape. Pun intended, I guess. But in any event, I'm starting to ramble, so I'm going to ramble out. But yeah, would I bring Escape to the desert island? No, because I've heard it enough. I need to bring something else. All right. Talk to you later, everybody.